Competitive Age of Empires 2 is a fun game to watch, but it's not always clear what's happening or why, even if you're familiar with the game. So I'm going to break down some fundamentals and give you a basic understanding of what to look at and focus on in a game, even if you've never played before. We're going to simplify a lot of concepts, but after this you should be able to understand and even predict what players will do in real games. Age of Empires 2 is, at its core, a simple cycle. Players make villagers, villagers gather resources, resources are spent on military units, and those units try to kill the enemy villagers. None of this would happen without the humble villager, which is why villagers are the most important unit in the game. For this reason, every strategy prioritizes making villagers constantly. Villagers are trained out of the town center, the only building that players start with. Because players can only have one town center for the early part of the game, villager count will be similar until players can make military units or additional town centers. When you're watching a game through Capture Age, the number of villagers each player has will be shown by these bars here. Unlike many sports, Age of Empires doesn't have a score of points to tell who's winning, but the difference in villagers can be thought of like a score. A player with more villagers can generate more resources, which can make more units. And in this game, more beats less. There are 4 resources players will gather throughout a game, and seeing what a player is prioritizing can tell you about their strategy. Wood is chopped from the plentiful trees on the map and is used to make buildings, archers, and farms. Food is gathered from animals and bushes early on, and from farms later in the game. Food is needed for villagers, most other units, and advancing through the ages. Gold is gathered from gold mines and is used for powerful units and technologies. Stone is gathered from stone mines and is used for powerful buildings, especially towers and castles. Wood and food are plentiful in a game, and all strategies need both to some extent. Gold and stone, on the other hand, are more limited, and as a game progresses, a map can even run out of gold and stone. So these mines can become important objectives to fight over or defend. Because resources are slow to gather, it's important for players to prioritize what they think they'll need. And if a player loses access to a resource, it can change the game. Now there are 4 ages in Age of Empires, and as you advance through them, you have access to new units, new buildings, and new technologies. Aging up is powerful, but very expensive. There's often a trade-off between using those resources now or making the long-term investment in advancing through the ages. The 4 ages are Dark Age, Feudal Age, Castle Age, and Imperial Age. Players start in the Dark Age, where they only have access to the weak militia unit, less powerful than even a villager. In Feudal Age, players have access to aggressive but expensive units, like archers and scout cavalry, which can effectively attack the enemy. But players can also make defensive units, like skirmishers and spearmen. These excel at beating archers and scouts respectively, but are very weak at attacking villagers. In the Castle Age, players can make extremely powerful units, like the Knight, which can single-handedly kill multiple feudal units. Players also gain access to the Castle, a huge stone building which fires volleys of arrows and trains powerful unique units. Finally, players can build additional town centers in Castle Age, allowing them to make multiple villagers at the same time. Whether your goal is offense, defense, or economy, any strategy benefits from reaching Castle Age. In Imperial Age, players can upgrade their units to the highest extent. The most important unit in Imperial Age, though, is the Trebuchet, a siege engine which deals enormous damage to castles from far away. If players reach a stalemate in the Castle Age, getting to the Imperial Age first and making trebuchets should be a priority. Because knights, castles, and villagers dictate so much of a game, a very popular build order is Fast Castle Age. Now when we talk about a player's build order, what we essentially mean is their strategy. A build order is like a recipe players can follow to reach their desired goal as efficiently as possible. In the case of a fast castle, The player neglects any form of aggression and makes very few defenses, with the goal of simply reaching castle age before their opponents. Other strategies, often called rushes because of their speed, are meant to attack the player and disrupt their economy, preventing them from reaching castle age. A scout rush, for example, reaches feudal age as fast as possible to make the fast-moving scout cavalry and reach the opponent's base before they're ready. If a scout rush is too slow, an opponent might have walls built, which scouts have trouble getting through. An archer rush, on the other hand, is much slower and more expensive, but archers can shoot over walls and will become powerful crossbowmen in the castle age. You might notice that there's a bit of a complex rock, paper, scissors to strategies. Scout rushes beat fast castles, early walls beat scouts, archers beat walls. Trying to guess what your opponent will do can be a nightmare. That's why good players rely on scouting the map to spot the opponent's strategy, or to find out where they're weak to attack. And those are the fundamentals. There's lots of other things to learn, but hopefully now you're not completely lost when you stare at all of this.